Hi, this is Ed Fisher from RetroHack.com. In today's video, we're going to see how easy it is to install and configure VIPRE Antivirus. VIPRE Antivirus is available from the website www.vipreantivirus.com. As you can see, it comes in two different versions. The standard, which includes antivirus and anti-spyware, and the premium that also adds a firewall. You can go direct to the buy, or you can easily just download a free trial. Click the free trial, the link pops up, and you can download it. To save us some time, I previously downloaded the installer, which clocks in at about 17 meg, so we'll just drop our browser out of the way and double click it to begin. The UAC prompt comes up after we double click it. We'll hit yes to proceed. The installer will extract some temporary files necessary to run, and away we go. Go through next. We can review and accept the terms of the licensing agreement. Hit next. The default location is one I always recommend. I like to keep all my programs under C:\program files, but of course you can change it if you want to. Hit next. If you like a shortcut on your desktop, you can. I don't, so I'm going to clear that checkbox. We will take a quick look at the README. Hit next, and that's all it takes to install the product. We hit install and away we go. Fast forward a couple of moments and the install wizard's completed. We're ready to go. We hit finish. README provides you some application notes, a brief summary on what was done, system requirements, etc. VIPRE does want to reboot after you've done the install, so we'll pause again for just a moment until the system reboots. Okay, after the reboot and we log back in, we notice the VIPRE setup wizard comes right up. Hit next. Okay, we have the option to set up our email protection. VIPRE includes protection for Outlook, Outlook Express or Windows Mail, as well as other mail programs using standard protocols like POP and SMTP. Since I use Outlook, I'll go ahead and click that, clear the other two, hit next. Okay. ThreatNet is a community reporting portal which allows us to submit anonymous information about antivirus or malware threats. I like to participate in these kinds of things. I recommend that you do too. Leave the two boxes checked and hit next. Okay. With the firewall, we got our choice of not using a firewall. Of course, we downloaded VIPRE Premium because we wanted the firewall. Simple firewall basically blocks everything inbound that you didn't solicit. No pop-up, no notifications. Learning mode I always like to recommend because this will prompt you as connections attempt to be made or as programs on your computer try to open up outbound connections. You can develop your firewall rule set by training the system with what you want to allow or what you want to deny. We'll hit next. Now, VIPRE comes 15 days for free. If you went ahead and purchased it, this is where you would plug in your key. Since we're just going to see how easy we can use the evaluation, we'll hit next and keep going. Okay. Don't really need a demonstration in this case. I'm going to clear that checkbox and hit finish. Okay, as you can see, a couple things pop right up. First, VIPRE is trying to do an update to get the latest antivirus definitions. And because you're on a network VIPRE's never seen before, it wants to know if you want to trust it. This is home network, so I'm going to go ahead and hit yes. And we'll see that VIPRE is downloading definition updates. And a moment or two later, we see that our version is up to date. We've got the latest definitions, and everything on our board shows green, except of course our scan status, since we haven't done a scan yet. Hit OK. Let's take a look at our panel. Active protection is enabled. That's live real-time antivirus protection. Email protection is enabled, so any email that comes into our program will be scanned. Anything we send out will be scanned. Updates are configured and we're on current definitions, and the firewall is turned on. Let's start at the top here with active protection. We can see that it's enabled. We'll be notified whenever a risk is detected or blocked. When we open files or when we go to copy files, they'll be scanned. Here we can see the extensions that are configured. Each of these extensions will be scanned. We can add others if we want. You'll also notice that the tabs up top here correspond to the same panels we saw on the front, so we'll just go ahead and click over to those. Right out of the box, VIPRE is configured to check for updates every hour. If that's a little less frequent or more frequent than you want, you do have the option, but I really like that automatic setting so that we're always checking for the latest updates. As we saw during the install, we're configured to participate with ThreatNet community. If we're using a proxy server, we can plug in the proxy settings here. We'd also trigger an immediate check for updates if we learn of a zero-day threat or we just want to make sure that we're all the way up to date. Okay, with our scan options, We can look for rootkits. We can check our zips and our RARs and our other archives. We can exclude USB drives, look at our cookies, anything going on in our registry, also scan running processes. There are 3 different types of scan. Quick scan with those settings, deep system scan, which would be more like a scheduled overnight type of scan, and then we can also define our own custom scans if we wish. On the deep system scan, I like to go ahead and take a look at the archives. Don't need to worry about running at lower priority. I'm going to schedule this to run in the middle of the night. Hopefully I'm not on the computer, so we'll leave that running. Excluding the USB drives, we'll go ahead and scan those by default whenever we plug them in. But if you leave a USB drive connected, you want to scan that every night on the scheduled scan, absolutely just check that box. On the email protection, if you add another product after the fact, you can just click the checkbox. We'll take a look at possible phishing messages as well, and if we want, we can add these to all inbound and outbound mails just as a notification that they were scanned. If our computer goes to sleep, we can wake the computer up whenever it's time to run a scan. And then the settings on our firewall. It's on by default with intrusion detection enabled. Anything that tries to connect to our system on an unopened port is scanned. We can also enable boot time protection, which means that we will make sure we don't accept unsolicited connections during the startup of the computer. We can set exceptions, which would be programs that are allowed through the firewall. By default, only the updates for the program itself, as well as our Windows programs, are allowed. We can define specific ports to allow or deny. It's as simple as plugging in and add. Giving our rule a name, we can define the particular application by browsing to the executable. If there's a particular port we want to associate with it, whether it's TCP or UDP, if we want to allow or deny, and then whether it's an inbound or an outbound. Likewise, on the network, we can set specific network protocols, and then anything having to do with a particular gateway if we're bridging a connection. Okay, with our settings, we'll go ahead and do a scan. I want to take a look first at the scheduled scans. Notice we have a default deep scan scheduled for 1 a.m. every day of the week. I really like this feature since that's turned on by default. If you're a night owl and you don't want the antivirus scan kicking off while you're busy playing World of Warcraft, you can always edit this and set it to run at any particular time you want to, say 4 a.m. Yeah, got to get some sleep sometime. Hit OK, and we're ready to go. We hit back. We can do a scan now. So if we choose a quick scan or a deep scan, or we can do a custom scan and define a custom scan on the fly if we want to. Let's do a quick scan. We'll hit scan now. This will run through and take a look for any known rootkits. Take a look at our running processes. Take a look at some of our core files. Takes a look at our cookies and our registry, and we're done. Go back to our overview. Now we can see we've got a green across the board. Okay. Hope you've enjoyed this quick tour of VIPRE Antivirus. Great product. I strongly recommend it. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I do. Thanks for your time.